Hello students. So in the previous class we were talking about that of the question answer of that of the chapter, and that is garbage in and garbage out. Now today we will continue with the question answers again. So you see here students, we will move to the question number 5th of the NCERT chapter, and it is also divided into the ABC, and you will see the first question of the 5th. Now you see here, question is that we collect a different kind of a packaging material. What was the purpose for which each one was used? Discuss in group. So what we have to do here, student, we have to collect a different kind of a packing material, and we will discuss that for which purpose it is used for, and we will discuss it about it. So you see here students, there are a lot of packing materials students, so which include the cardboard, which include that of the thermocol or that of the jute, or clothes are there, or shiny paper are there students. So these all are what? These are used for packing the material. Now if we talk about that, what is the purpose of using it? So you see, if it is a cardboard, or that of a plastic container is there, or that of a tin container is there student. So basically these are used for the transportation purpose, while the other one, they are used for the packing materials. So we can write the answer, that is, so we can say students, there are packing materials like that of the thermocol, foam sheets are there, then jute bags are there students, or jute is there, paper cutting, jute, paper cuttings, these are basically used to protect the articles. Okay, so these are used to protect the articles. Okay, so these are the packing materials student, which include the thermocol, which include the foam sheet, which include the jute, that of the paper cutting. These are the materials which we can use to protect the material, because the packing only it will help us to protect the article. Okay, article it means we are talking about that of the material itself. Okay, not only this is students, so this is used for protecting the material. So there are some other packing also used to pack the material, so that we can transport it from one place to another. So we can write it that card box is there, that of the plastic container or tin container. So card box, plastic container, and tin containers. So card boxes, plastic container, and that of the tin containers, they are used for the transportation of the material. Are used for the transportation of the material. So you see here students, so the different kind of a packaging, you can use the other packaging materials also. You can take the different packaging materials, and by that also you can understand that this packing material is used for which purpose. Right now we have used that of the card box, or the jute, or that of the plastic container, or a tin container, or the paper cutting is there. So you see all these things are used for a different thing. One is used for protecting the article, protecting the material, and that is why cover, we used to pack that material with that particular object, whether it is a paper cutting, whether it is a jute one. Okay, and if we talk about the card boxes or that of the plastic container or that of a tin container, students, so you have seen that while transporting we used to keep the thing in a card boxes, we used to keep the thing in a plastic container or that of the tin container, because it will help in transporting the material without damaging it. Okay, so for different materials, they will be different packing material will be used for the use for it. Okay, now we will move to the next question. Next question is, student, on that is of the fifth second part. You see here, student, before that we discussed about that which are the materials, different materials in which we will use the different packing. Okay, now in this question what we will discuss that given example in which packing could have been reduced. So there are materials which is available in the market, student, that we buy. It is not necessary that we should pack it. Okay, so what are the different materials which do not need, or there is no need of this packing of that particular material. So that kind of a material, if we reduce the packing of those materials, so obviously then it will be very easy for us to reduce the packing of such, reduce the increase of that of the garbage. Because we know that if we increase the packing of the material, student, ultimately what will happen, it will be thrown in the dustbin and it will increase the garbage. Okay, so better what we can do, we should reduce it if possible in a material, and it is not necessary to pack such kind of a material which do not need packing. Better we should avoid it. So we can write it. What are the examples in which packing could have been reduced? So you see here, student, we can write it. Packing of packaging of toys, that of the clothes. Packing of the toys, clothes. Then shoes are there, students. So shoes. Toys are there, clothes are there, shoes are there, chocolates. Okay, etc. Do not need packaging. Do not need packaging. So we can reduce the packing of these materials. Okay, so you can see the student packing of that of the toy or that of the shoes or that of the chocolate or that of the clothes. So it is not necessary that we should pack all these materials. So we can reduce the packing of such materials, and we can say that by reducing the packing of these materials, we can reduce the disposal of the garbage also. Okay. Now we will move to the third one, student, of the fifth question. So you see here, question is that write a story that on how packaging increases the amount of the garbage. So you see here, student, we use a different kind of packing material to make our packet good looking, or so that we can protect the material which is present inside it. Like if suppose you are going to a body and you are packing a body gift, then what you will do, you will use a shiny paper which will make your gift good looking. But you see, all this the shiny paper, it is made up of that of the plastic. So plastic coated paper is there, or the plastic cans are there, or the aluminium foil is there, or aluminium cans are there. So all these things, or a tin can is there, student, which is made up of a metal object. Okay, so all these things are what? These are the packing material. Not only this, if a small amount, if the small things like that of a ghee is there, even the chocolates are there. So you see, these are also packed with a different packing material. So you see, ultimately what will happen, if suppose you are taking a birthday gift and you pack the birthday gift by a plastic coating paper, a beautiful plastic or a shiny paper, covered it with that of the beautiful shiny paper. Ultimately, when you open the gift, you will throw the shiny paper in the dustbin. Like that, the other one also, if a small packet of ghee is there, so that is also made up of a plastic. So after using it, what you will do, you will throw it. So what is all these things, students? These are basically increasing the amount of garbage. So you will use the material and you will throw the plastic, you will throw that of the packing material in the dustbin, and later on, since it is made up of a metal object, since it is made up of a plastic, so they are non-biodegradable, so they will increase the amount of a garbage. Okay, so we can write it. That is, we use packing material. We use packing material to protect the articles. We use packing material to protect the article. Okay? The articles. Also, not only to protect that of the article, student, but we also use this material to make it, to look it beautiful. Okay, so we use packing material to protect the article and also making it good looking. Right? So we will use it for making it good looking. For example, we can, because here a story is there, students, so you can example of a birthday, that will be a very easy one. For example, if you are packing a birthday gift, with the shiny paper to make it good looking. What will happen, student? After that, after using it, after opening that of the gift, you will throw that shiny paper in the dustbin. So we can write it. Please write the answer, or you can take the screenshot of this. That will be much better. After that, good looking. Make it good looking. After that, you will throw the material, you will throw the packet. The shiny paper after opening the gift. You will throw the shiny paper after opening the gift in the dustbin. So what is happening here, student? You are using a packing material that is made up of a shiny paper, that is made up of a plastic coated paper, and finally, ultimately, it will be thrown in that of the dustbin, will increase the amount of garbage, students. So we can also write it that similarly. Okay, this is the one example in which we are throwing the garbage. We are throwing that of the material, the waste material, because right now it will be waste. After opening that, it will be of no use. So the people, they used to throw it in the dustbin. So it will increase the amount of garbage. Not only this, similarly we can use the different kind of a material which will increase the amount of a garbage. How? You can write it. Similarly, aluminium cans, aluminium Then metal cans are there, students. So metal cans are there, or that of plastic bags are there, stick bags, okay, or plastic coated paper is there, plastic coated paper, etc. These are the packing material, packaging material, which will ultimately will be thrown in the dustbin. Okay, so it will be thrown in the dustbin. Okay, so these are the packaging materials, student, which will be ultimately thrown into that of the dustbin. Not only this, student, if you see very small packet material like that of the ghee is there, or refined oil is there, or that of a soap also, student. So you see soap, refined oil, or the oil, ghee is there. So all these things are what? These are the small materials which is packed. Okay, either they are packed with the plastic coated paper, either they are packed with the plastic bags, the plastic over there, or either it is in the aluminium cans also, because you have seen that aluminium cans to keep the ghee, or a plastic in which the ghee is kept. So all these materials are water, or these are the different examples by which we can say that these packing material, after the use of the item, after the use of the material which is present inside it, we will throw the packaging in the dustbin, which will increase the garbage, okay, amount of garbage. Okay, now we will move to the next question. Now we will move to the next question, student, and this is the last question of that of the NCERT. So you see your question is that, do you think that it is better to use compost instead of fertilizers? If yes, why? If no, why? So, is it better to use compost instead of fertilizer, student? Yes. It will be much better that we should prefer compost on that of the fertilizers. So we can write here, student, that yes, it is much better to use. Answer is yes. It is much better to use compost instead of fertilizers. It is much better to use compost instead of fertilizers. What are the different reasons, student, that we should prefer compost instead of that of the fertilizers? So you see, so the first one is that is the compost. It is very easy to make, and it is very cheap also. Okay, but what is there in that of the fertilizer, students? Fertilizer, it is very problematic to make fertilizers, and the second thing that it is costly. So we can write it, compost is easy to make as well as it is cheap. Okay, compost is easy to make as well as it is cheap. But if we talk about fertilizers, fertilizers are costly and problematic. So you see here, student, compost, where compost is very easy to prepare it, as well as it will of a very low cost, but the fertilizers, they are difficult to make, and as well as we can say that it is problematic and costly also. Okay. If you see the second point of that, students, that compost student, if you see compost, it is eco-friendly. Okay, as well as it will not going to hamper the texture of the soil. Not only this, it will help in increasing the fertility of the soil. So we can write the second point, students. Sorry, compost is eco-friendly. Second is compost is eco-friendly. Okay, compost is eco-friendly and it does not affect the texture, as well as it helps in maintaining the fertility of the soil. So we can write it as well as it helps in maintaining the fertility of the soil. So you can see here, student, compost is what? It is eco-friendly as well as help in maintaining the fertility of the soil. So this is about that of the compost. What happened in case of the fertilizer, students? So in case of the fertilizers, basically fertilizers are not eco-friendly. Okay, so they are what? They hamper the quality of the soil also. So we can write it in case of the fertilizers. So fertilizers destroy the natural composition as well as fertility of the soil. So see here, student, fertilizers, it destroy the natural composition as well as it destroy the fertility of the soil. While that of the compost, student, it was eco-friendly and it was good for our soil because it increased the fertility of the soil. If we talk about the next one, so the next one is, if you see the composting, why we need to do the composting, students? So you will say to get the manure. So how we do the composting? By disposing the garbage. Composting is used for the disposal of the garbage. Now not only this, student, what is going on here? You are throwing the material, throwing the garbage in that of the compost, and there is a arrival of a new component or a new thing is arrived from it. So it will help in the recycling as well as it will help in disposal of the garbage. But what happened in case of a fertilizer, student? Now you see here, you are using the fertilizers. Now these chemicals, they mixes in the soil. Now what happened? Rainwater occur, or when you water or a river water, when you give the river water to that of the soil. So this chemicals will finally mixes with the water also, and from that of the rainwater, it will goes and mixes into the river water, right? So these chemicals, it mixes with the water, and with the help of the rainwater, it went and mixes with that of the river water. Now the river water consisting of that of the chemicals which went from this field, which went through that of the fertilizers. So this chemical will going to affect the life of the that of the aquatic plants and animals. Understood? So we can write the third one, that is composting help in recycling. Composting helps in recycling. Okay, so it helps in recycling as well as disposal of the garbage. So composting help in the recycling as well as the disposal of the garbage. But if you see a process, that this process is also known as leaching, students. So leaching is what in which the water will mixes with that of the chemicals, you can say. So leaching process makes the fertilizer, leaching process of chemicals of fertilizers mixes with the river water and finally affect the aquatic plants and animals. So we can write it. Finally affect the and finally affects the aquatic plants and animals. So you see here, students, that leaching process, it makes the chemicals to mixes with that of the water, with the river water, and which will going to affect the aquatic plants and animals. So you see, this is the answer of the question number 6, that how you can think that fertilizers are better to that of the compost is better than that of the fertilizers. So you see here, student, the first thing, compost, they are eco-friendly and they increases they does not hamper, does not affect the texture of the soil, as well as it help in increasing the fertility of the soil. Okay, what about the fertilizers? Fertilizers, they hamper the texture. Okay, so they affect the composition of the soil also, as well as they degrade the fertility of the soil, student, because the chemical mixes with that of the soil, so it will going to degrade the quality of the soil. Second thing, students, it will help in recycling. Okay, so the fertilizers, the compost, basically it will help in the recycling of the garbage, as well as it will also help in the disposal of the garbage, because we used to throw all the kitchen garbage in that of the pit, and where due to the action of the microorganism or due to the action of the redworm, it will get converted into compost or vermicompost. Okay, so it will get converted into the compost by the process of composting, in which we dispose the garbage. So it will help in the disposal of the garbage. As well as, students, if you see the fertilizers, so fertilizers, basically due to the leaching process, the chemicals mixes with the water, and finally it will affect the aquatic plants and animals' life. If we talk about the last one, students, so compost is what? It is cheap, and it is very easy to make, also easy to handle, you can say. What about fertilizers? They are very costly, and the method of making that of the fertilizers, that is the combination of the chemicals and all, it is problematic. So by all these, students, you can understand the composting is far better than that of the fertilizers. Okay. Although if we compare the composting and that of the vermicomposting, so you will always say that it is the vermicompost only, just the vermicompost which provide the good quality of the manure. So by that, student, we can say that vermicompost is much better than that of the compost, because that will provide a high quality of a manure. Okay, so these are the questions which is given in the NCERT of this chapter. Now we will see some of the extra questions, or some of the questions which is very important, which can be asked in the exam. Okay. So you see, you students, if suppose we talk about the extra questions, so what kind of questions can be asked? If suppose we talk about the one marks question, students, so define composting or that of the landfill, define vermicomposting, what is the difference between the composting and vermicomposting? Questions can be asked from the disposal of the garbage, then what are the different methods of the disposal of the garbage, in which the question can be asked that what is landfill, then it will be asked that how can you do recycling of the material, or what are the suitable material which should be recycled. Okay, question can be asked that why there is a need of a reuse or why there is a need of a 3Rs. Okay, so these are some of the questions that can be asked. In which students it will talk about the garbage also. What is a garbage? Why there is a need of the disposal of the garbage? Because you know that if it will not throw the garbage, it will going to make our surrounding dirty. Question can be asked student that what is the difference between the biodegradable and non-biodegradable material? Biodegradable, which can be decomposed by the help of by the action or that of the microorganism, and non-biodegradable, which cannot be degraded, which cannot be decomposed by the action of the microorganisms. Okay, so these are the different questions which can be asked from the different topics. So in the next we will discuss the extra questions of all the different chapters.